It's always a joy to have World Brotherhood Day as the beginning of our holy season of Christmas, of celebrating the Christ consciousness within our own selves and in the world at large. Because it's important, I think, that we understand that it is World Brotherhood, that we're here to really find that essence within our own selves and be able to share it with all those around us and beyond those that we know. This evening's program, or this afternoon's program, is a special one that will hopefully touch each of us in a very personal way. We'll have a few songs from our choir in a few moments, and then Mai will talk a little bit about what this is more about, and then we'll have presentations from Chitindra and Nab on aspects of our outreach and what we're really doing to touch people. And then Deva Leela will share with us a very recent gift that we have for the world in terms of Kriya. And then beloved Naya Swami's Jyotish and Devi will give a talk as well, and then we'll have the opportunity for the giving part of the ceremony. But I want to take a moment here to thank the staff of the Kitchen of the Expanding Light for the amazing thing that we're going to see happen at the end of this part of it over in the dining room of the Expanding Light Retreat, that they always put out such a wonderful energy to really give us the gift that we want to share with all of you through food and sharing in company and satsang. So let's give out an applause, even though they're not here. So we'll have the music now with the choir.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo, Gloria in excelsis Deo. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song? Gloria in excelsis Deo, Gloria in excelsis Deo. Come to Bethlehem and see, in whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo, Gloria in excelsis Deo.
And now for World Brotherhood, we're going to do Brothers.
I've lived in many countries and mixed with many men.
I've shared the days of sunshine, gone with them in the rain.
The fires at evening said we were brothers. The fires at evening said we were brothers. A soldier I saw weeping beside a dying friend.
My officers had said I must hate him till the end.
But seeing his grief I knew we were brothers. But seeing his grief I knew we were
but love made us brothers.
One day I climbed a mountain with friends of other lands.
The words we used were different, but joy one understands. Our gladness in God's world made us brothers. Our gladness in God's world made us brothers. Though words and customs vary like waves upon the sea, one life beneath the surface binds everyone to me. Who knows the truth knows all, and as brothers, who knows the truth knows all, and us brothers. Then brothers, why endeavor to set ourselves apart? The fences we've been building squeeze tight upon our hearts. Come sing the truth that all men are brothers. Come sing the truth that all men are brothers.
The next song that we'll do is Make Us Channels of Thy Peace, and we invite you to join us the second time through.
Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee. All our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of Thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow Thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share Thy love. Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee. All our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of Thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow Thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share Thy love. Please gave us the mountains, Please gave us the sky. Nightly when starlight enfolds us, peace is its lullaby. Amen. Peace gave us the morning, peace gave us the sun, bird songs echo seasons. East gave us the rain, cool clouds that gather to bless us, mist hands that soothe away pain. Amen. Amen. Peace gave us our heart's love. Peace gave us our smiles. Praise of God's presence within us. Life that all strife reconciles. Amen. Amen.
Please join us on the last Amen.
Hello, friends. It's nice to see so many faces here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mai, and I have the pleasure of serving in the fundraising department. It's been such a joy. I was reflecting today about the first time that I walked into an Ananda meditation center. For those of you that don't know, I came from the Los Angeles group. And when I walked in, I really didn't know what I was looking for. I knew that I liked yoga, and I knew that I didn't like living my life the way that I was living. And I also knew that something was missing, but I didn't know what it was. And so a friend of mine said to me, my dear friend Jessie, you know, there's a free meditation class. We should check that out. And I thought, is there yoga? And she said, yeah. So I said, okay, I will only go to this meditation class if we could do the yoga class first. And our dear friend Turia at that time had a center in Torrance. A lot of you know Turia. And we went to the first free week of yoga, meditation, and philosophy class. And you guys have to understand, we were yoga girls, okay? Like, hot yoga girls. And so we went to the first Ananda yoga class, and afterwards I looked at Jessie and I said, this was a horrible class. I didn't even break a sweat. She said, well, let's try the meditation class. And I said, okay. And we went to the meditation class, and afterwards, I remember coming out of meditation. I think it was like a 1-minute meditation. And I said, this is it. This is it. I don't know what it is, but this is it. And I'm telling you this story because this is my first window into Ananda. And now, almost more than a decade later, here I am serving at Ananda, and my life has completely changed. I always talk about this journey, the spiritual journey, from the day that a person receives an email from us, a video, a blog, attends a class. Did you know that last year 1.3 million people came to ananda.org in search of something inspirational? Who knows what the number is, too, those that are walking into a center or, one of our communities, to the farms. We just don't know. And one day, they might be here with us, or they're already here with us. So we're here gathered today to celebrate World Brotherhood Day. And I wanted the individuals that are coming up to specifically talk about how this little group here is not so little. And just because they're not sitting in the crowd and we can't count each individual that comes in and sits in a chair, doesn't mean that this work isn't huge. It's big. It's really big. Overall, 3 million people visit all of our websites. So what you're doing is so important. And you received somebody like me who really had no idea what she was looking for. And so we're all here today so that we can now also think about the people that are coming and how will we serve them. And in our gifts, in our money, in our donations, in our time, we're all in this ministry, the ministry of sharing Swamiji's teachings and sharing Paramahansa Yogananda. So I'm going to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to deepen my spiritual life through this service. And thank you for keeping those doors open so that hot yoga girl can be here to deepen her spiritual life. Thank you.
Happy World Brotherhood Day, everyone. I was asked to share a little bit about our virtual Sangha, our virtual world that is ever expanding. Sometimes I've now been serving online with Ananda for about 6 years now, and I think that some days I do wake up and I ask myself, am I real? Am I living in the virtual world? So it's helping me remember that life is a dream for sure. But you know, I was thinking today, reflecting on this beautiful day of the celebrating World Brotherhood Day, and I was remembered of this beautiful chant that our Guru gave us, "They have heard thy name." And one line in this chant is, "They have heard thy name. They have come to thy door, Lord. They have come to thy door. Give them an audience, Lord." And our beloved Guru, our beloved Swamiji, gave everyone in the world one of the most beautiful homes to come into and to be cared for and to be educated of these very powerful, life-transforming teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. And one of these houses that have been built is our work online. We've had so far, over the past 5 years or so, we've had about 14,000 people who have enrolled in one of our courses. Currently, we have about 9,000 current users who are actively participating, just as when we wake up in the morning here at Ananda Village, they may wake up in Haiti, Iran, over 137 countries. We are working with individuals and helping them find God through this ray of light. In countries such as Iran and Vietnam and all these countries that perhaps at one point we were at war with, we're now coming together and celebrating this brotherhood that our Guru talked about. We also have supported about 5,000 individuals through the Path of Kriya online over the past 5 or 6 years. And so we are seeing an ever-expanding outreach with online, and it is felt that all of the energy that is being offered to God, offered to the Guru through our meditation, through our seva, through the friendships that we embrace, it's all feeding this fire that, as our Guru said, will spread like wildfire. We're seeing this very, very clearly online. But more than the numbers is how individuals are being touched. I'd like to just share one story that's very inspiring. There was an individual in the Midwest in the United States who was very busy with job and family and many other things, until one evening his house burnt down, and his 2 young children and wife were safe. They were able to escape their burning house safely. And This, of course, influenced many other things in their life, with compromising their jobs and other things. And they were really in this deep state of despair. They had to move to a hotel. They had no other place to live. So as they moved into this hotel room, just like I think all of us have experienced when you go into a hotel room and you open that drawer in between the two beds, we usually find the Bible. Well, this individual, opening that drawer to seek the Bible, opened the middle drawer, and he found the blue Autobiography of a Yogi. Now, I think this is a coincidence. I don't know. He started reading the Autobiography of a Yogi and immediately felt this grace enter his heart, felt this blessing that entered his family. And he said that as he started reading the Autobiography of a Yogi, he started to see everything begin to change. Everything began to shift, where everything was moving down, started to shift, moving up. He immediately asked the question, how can I be more a part of this? Being in the Midwest, there was no local center, no meditation group, but there was www.myhome. And this individual, we supported him. He graduated into Kriya Yoga. And his life, seeing all the things that transformed in his life, was so touching. He got a better job. His family's thriving. The happiness and joy that he is experiencing in his life is so profound. But that's all very inspiring. But one of the things that we see in every individual is that their lives improve. These 15,000 people who have engaged with us in some way through our virtual community, through the live broadcast that is happening now, in whatever way that they're interacting with us, there is an expansion of joy and happiness, and there is improvement in their life. But one of the most precious things that is happening online is that every individual expresses to us that their deep desire for God is growing and expanding. Every time that they choose to engage with us online, it's feeding that inner fire of devotional self-offering. So remember that although online seems far away in the ether, happening somehow, it's happening in each individual's heart. As you yourself offer to the Guru every day, everything that you have, you're offering yourself into this energy that is expanding. So I think that over the next couple of years, we're going to see a beautiful, ever-expanding explosion of Master's grace, Swamiji's blessings. And as they awaken in the world, they'll seek their home online, but then they'll also come in person, and we'll get to meet them and celebrate this joy of brotherhood. So many blessings to you, and Jai Guru.
Hi, everyone. My name's Naba, if you don't know me, and I get to serve in the communications department here at Ananda Village, and more importantly, I'm the father of Mala, who may be watching right out there now on the TV. But Mala, one of her favorite books, of course, she's 16 months old, for those who don't know her. She is Goodnight Moon, of course, which is a wonderful children's book. But her favorite now is Goodnight iPad, where they put all the devices to bed. Well, they throw them out the window, actually, in the book. So, of course, we're happy that she's learning that, technology is not only a positive thing and that there's, downsides to it, but that's because the technology is really magical in a lot of ways, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about, actually, the meditation app, the Ananda meditation app here. And many of you have used it. Many of you are actually in it, guiding meditations or leading different parts of it. But I thought I'd start out by just first asking everybody how they first learned how to meditate. So did you first learn in person, either from a class or a friend? A lot of people. Did you first learn from a book when you first practiced? I did too. No, just a few. How about, did you learn online somehow? Class, YouTube, one person? I see a couple. Did you just guess? Some people. Swami did, yeah. So how many of you, okay, so that's great. How many of you had someone to practice with when you first started meditating? Someone that you'd wake up? A lot of people. Wonderful. Not everybody has that. Someone who can help them remember, help them, when they're traveling, support them. And we wanted everyone to have that. And so a few years ago, we created the Ananda Meditation app. And rather than tell you what it is, I actually thought I'd read a review that we got a few months ago. This is from someone named Dakal. Dakal said, I can't begin to talk about how fantastic this app is. It has to be one of the most thought out apps for meditators of all levels out there, and the only one that incorporates the teachings of Supreme Yoga Master Paramahansa Yogananda. The app has lessons on meditation, instructions on techniques for the beginner. For the intermediate meditator, it has guided meditations, chants and kirtans, energization exercises, pranayama techniques, meditation timer, and a feature to set reminders for one's practice. For those more advanced, it has the ability to create your own meditation feature, which for me is the highlight of the app. With this feature, the possibilities are huge. I truly recommend it. So when we launched the app originally, it was just a couple years ago. Actually, it was before Spiritual Renewal Week in 2017. And so many people told us they were grateful for it. It was meditation teacher training graduates said they'd been waiting for it for years. And today it has one of the highest ratings of any meditation app on the app stores. So very many people have used it. And every day, I want you to imagine this, every day a temple of light full of people is using the app in some way. They might be doing a guided meditation with Swami, or learning how to meditate with Naya Swami Maria, or meditating with Jyotishan Devi, or doing an affirmation with Diksha, practicing energization exercises with Gyandev, or creating their own custom meditation, as Dakal mentioned, to create your own, find their own deep inner stillness with a longer practice. One of the messages we've received that's been particularly meaningful to me is this one from Karen in New York. She said, "Thank you everyone at Ananda who contributed to the meditation app." And of course, that's not just the small team that was working on the app or the people who are in it, but really all of us who have supported Ananda, in many, many ways. It has restored my practice and returned me to the path of light with an unprecedented vigor. I feel very much in attunement with Master and with Swami Kriyananda as well at this time. And she went on to say, "The world needs our loving attention as never before. The love and generosity that went into this app and the ongoing work at Ananda is being paid for daily by many." So of course we share the meditation and techniques of self-realization with so many different ways through Ananda. And each time we do, whether it's maybe igniting a new practice or re-inspiring an old practice, it adds that much more light to the world, and I believe that creates a foundation for world brotherhood to happen in a very, very literal way. And I'll just close with this quote by Master that's an autobiography of a yogi he wrote. The broad sympathies and discerning insight needed for the healing of earthly woes cannot flow from a mere intellectual consideration of man's diversities, but from knowledge of man's soul unity, his kinship with God. So thank you so much for being a part of the energy that's making that happen throughout the world. And it's just a joy to share with you and be a part of this with you. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Deva Leela. I think most of you know me. We created a video for Kriya Yoga. It's really an answer to the question, what is Kriya Yoga? And it's meant for the most broad audience. It's not easy to capture that, what is Kriya Yoga? Jayadara created a very beautiful video. I'm not sure where he is. I know he's here. There he is. He created this beautiful video, and we released it Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and at like 4:05, I got an email from somebody saying, you know, I read Autobiography of a Yogi, I did a search online, and I found that I could learn Kriya online, but I knew intuitively that it's bigger than just a technique. And I saw your video, and I want to learn from you. So just pretty amazing. So anyway, we'll show the video, and thank you, Jaidara.
I think one thing that is universal to everybody is we all want to be happy. We all want to be successful, we want to lead fulfilling lives, and we want to especially feel that there's some purpose to our life. And I think this quest propels all of us to seek. And at its heart, this is the nature of what the spiritual path is about.
Kriya is an ancient technique, and it goes back so far that its origins are lost way, way before prehistory. Paramahansa Yogananda was the third in a succession of masters of Kriya Yoga, and his mission was to bring this ancient science not only to America, but also into the modern age.
Kriya Yoga, surprisingly, might be the most practical thing that you will ever do. The reason it works so well is that it changes us on the inside. And when we change on the inside, then it starts to find expression in our daily lives.
And the world doesn't seem to be such an intimidating place, and something bad happens, and your reactive process to all the events in your life begins to be calmed down, and you realize you gain a sense of self-possession, that you are in control because you're living from this deep center of energy, this magnetic force field within you that is not so affected by things outside of yourself.
Kriya Yoga has that power to make saints out of really, truly anyone who is sincere.
If you're like me and you are seeking truth, you're seeking joy, you're seeking what is the purpose of my life, Kriya Yoga will offer those answers for you. So give it a try. It's nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Since 1968, Ananda has helped thousands of truth seekers throughout the world. We offer training through online courses, through home study books, and through in-person retreats.
Isn't that nice? Really beautiful. Thank you, Jaidara, and everyone else involved. A video like that has even the power to draw in the hot yoga girls. So I wanted to let you know what an ancient tradition this is of World Brotherhood Day. You know, the first World Brotherhood Day was, I just checked with Catherine, who is our official historian, was in 1983 in the Masonic Auditorium in San Francisco. And we chose that place partly because by that time we had a center in San Francisco, a very active one, but the Masonic Auditorium, Master had taught in that hall for many, many classes while he was giving his workshops and classes in San Francisco. And so for a couple of years, we carried on that tradition. And then it was at that time that really our fundraising efforts became more organized. Up until that time, it might have been true that World Brotherhood Day was the major energy to draw funds to allow Ananda to do the work that we were trying to do. From the very, very beginning, Ananda's work has been to spread the light of Master's teachings, but much more than that, to create a kind of a family and a family energy where everybody who has an aspiration to approach these teachings finds not only an open doorway where they're received, but finds all of the tools, all of the support, all of the things that are necessary for them to carry on a spiritual life. You know, at this time in history, the last few years especially, have been a time of real strife in the world. There's an element of contraction going on around the world where people are pulling back and trying to hold on to something that perhaps is of the past, perhaps is of the familiar, and to push away those who are possible threats to that. On the other hand, there's the energy of Master, which is trying to create one world family, one nation under God, one universal culture where there is no such thing as race or religion or creed or national origin, where everybody in the world is seen as a brother and a sister, and we're all there because we're children of God. And so those two forces are at play right now. I'm not talking only politically here. This is far beyond politics, although it may get expressed in politics. But it's a contraction. It's the duality of Maya, the light and dark of Maya, the expansion and contraction that are always balancing off against each other. This, my friends, is not a time to be passive. We are among the, I don't know, one might say, the phrase that came to mind, and I paused because it has other connotations, but we're the chosen people. The chosen people are those who choose God. That's what we say every week in the Festival of Light. So we have chosen God, we have chosen the light, we have chosen expansive consciousness, and therefore we have also been chosen to be part of a wave to support that. And World Brotherhood Day for now nearly 40 years has been the means by which we make practical our dedication to doing that. And I'm very, very touched every year. We set World Brotherhood Day always at after the tradition got started. We set it at the beginning of the holy season with the thought that our first gift of the holy season should be a gift to God. Our first gift of the holy season should not be to our friends or our family or even our community. Our first gift should be to the world. And that gift of light, as we've heard, the light that is spread through online, through an app, through a phone call, in hundreds of different ways, that light is spread throughout the world. Davy and I have the great joy and privilege of traveling around the world, almost yearly, certainly, but it seems like constantly. And that traveling around the world allows us to see how powerfully effective what we're doing from this little place is. We traveled last year first after we left here, after the glorious dedication weekend of this temple and our week-long celebration of the 50th anniversary. We traveled first to Italy and we gave classes there. But it isn't just giving classes, it's the fact that now Italy has a new property where they will begin their community. That property was made possible by a loan from Ananda, from Ananda Church of Self-Realization. That loan was made possible because of the generosity of people who have supported this work. And so in all over the world, this is one might say, the root stock of the work throughout the world. There I met a young man, and he came for counseling. He was a little bit troubled. He had a sense of a little bit of depression, and he felt very isolated, very alone. He was an Italian young man living in France and working there, and he was completely isolated. He had come because his parents were part of the Ananda Assisi community, not community, but the congregation, one might say. They visit every year there. And so he had visited there, but he had a little bit of a connection there, but there was no way for him to continue to be able to stay connected with Ananda Assisi. So I suggested that, why don't you, and he wanted to prepare for Kriya Yoga. I suggested, why don't you start taking online courses? Why don't you take online Kriya preparation? And we've been in regular correspondence. He's doing that now. And he will come next year when we go back to Assisi and take Kriya initiation. It's just, but what we see in individual after individual after individual as we travel around is they have had some connection where the work here, the work that you're all contributing to, is helping them to establish or to continue a spiritual life. Another thing that we support here that is quite helpful personally to Davy and me is that our weekly blog goes out to many thousands of people. That touches, it goes out to nearly 25,000 people, and I think maybe close to 7,000 or 8,000 read that on a weekly basis. As we travel around, often the very first thing that a person will say to us is, you may not know me, but I know you. I read your blog and I'm so thankful for it. But it isn't, if Davy and I wrote that blog and we didn't have a team behind us, 2 people would read it. I would read it and Davy would read it. Not 2,000 or 20,000. And it's because, and I want to thank especially Lakshman and Kalamali, who for years have worked and helped to get that out. But that sense of reaching out and touching people individually is very, very important. You know, all of us should be, and I'm sure all of us are, extremely grateful to have this work, this community, this satsang, this temple, all of the things that we're doing. We are so extraordinarily fortunate in having the support systems around us that we have, having each other, having these great teachings. And so that gratitude that we feel needs to be translated into action to bring this light of what Master has come to bring into the world, to bring that to people everywhere. As Mai said, over 3 million people a year are receiving some sort of energy from Ananda. Well, let's make that in 5 years, let's make that 30 million or 300 million, because this light is infinite. Master's power is infinite, and we are blessed to be his instruments.
Good evening. Happy World Brotherhood Day. Well, one of the things we observe also as we travel around the world, yes, people receive many specific things, but Ananda and the work that is going on here not only through the outreach ministries, but through the community itself. It's really the guiding light for the development of our work throughout Europe, throughout India. What people ask us is, how do you do it at the village? How is it organized at the village? How do you do your database? Technical things. How do you do your Kriya Sangha? How do you do your meditation groups? How do you support them? How do you support your Spanish ministry? And so it isn't only the people we reach from here, but it's the ripple effect of, and I'm looking at some friends in the front row. When we were in India, people were saying, oh, you have this beautiful temple. It must take a lot of upkeep to keep it going. And I said, it's all done by volunteers. It makes such an impact on people, how we do things here, and the spirit behind it, much more than we realize. And, you know, I was talking with Jyoti yesterday. You know, Jyoti is part of our fundraising team, and unfortunately she had a little accident and broke her thumb and so couldn't be here tonight. But she was telling me a beautiful story about a man who was peripherally involved with Ananda, had received beginning teachings of Hong Sa, but never really took it beyond that. And he didn't live near a center or a community, but kept in touch, regularly donated. He was a construction project manager, and he retired. And he came up, he hadn't really been to the village, and he came up and Jyoti toured him around, and he said, it's wonderful here, but I'm in construction. There's a lot that needs to be done here. And he said, could I come up like for a week at a time and offer my services? And she said, of course. And this was a year ago that this process started, about a year and a half ago, actually. And he began coming up for a week at a time, working with Marian Taylor, just fell in love with her spirit of service and her commitment. And then Jyoti connected him with Prem Das and with Deva Leela and said, don't you think it's time for you to get Kriya? You've been doing Hong Sa for 20 years. And he said, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm worthy. But he kept serving, and he kept serving, and they kept supporting him. And then a year went by, and he began taking Kriya Prep. And then 6 months later, past August, he got Kriya. And he said, Ananda is the most remarkable place in the world. And thank you for creating such a place. So I want to share that story because it takes a village to raise a devotee. It's not just the wonderful Kriya ministry. It's not just the discipleship support. We are living World Brotherhood in this community, and people feel it. And that's what gives everything we do the power behind it. Just like that person said to Deva Leela, when I saw how you were approaching Kriya, I knew that's how I wanted to get it. It's because the integrity of living the life. That's what we hear over and over again. Through everywhere we go. I've gone to many different groups, people tell us, in Europe, in India. But when I came to Ananda, I saw you all were living the life. And that's what I was looking for, to show me how to do it myself. So I want to thank you for creating and continuing and maintaining this radiant spot of hope, of love, of light in the world through all the things that we do. And when we thank those who get to serve, one might say, on the front lines in the different outreach ministries we've spoken about. But it's so much deeper than that, isn't it? It's really, those couldn't exist, and it's not just about the money. It's about the flow of grace behind it all. And that's what you all bring. And so we are doing a great work throughout the world, really. I wish, I'm not a videographer, but I wish Jaidar or someone could just travel with us and capture what people tell us about how they're touched by. 2 days ago, I went for a walk, and we were on some back road that Maria showed us. Maria's always telling us about little back roads that you can walk on. And there was one of our neighbors who we knew a little bit. And she said, you know, my husband, we're interested in spiritual teachings, but he's elderly and he's housebound. And just the other day, we got an email from somebody at Ananda saying, you can watch videos of spiritual teachings online. We didn't know that. She said, now he doesn't have a long time left in this life, but he's watching these videos all the time. And, you know, who sent that email? Who knows who sent that email? But it's changing that man's life at an important juncture. So we're so lucky. I can't come into this temple now and listen to the choir or listen to my Guru Bhai speak without just barely being able to contain the tears, because life is such an amazing thing. I mean, there we were, 1969, chickens with our heads cut off, running around. But Swami stood in the light, and he brought us the light of Master. And you know, this picture we have of Swami, that was a picture Jyotish took in 2003, just when we landed in India. Swami was just starting the work in India. And always moving forward, always moving, bringing the light out. So this World Brotherhood Day, it's more than us. It's more than even our teachings. It's, as Jyotish said, God is using all of us and all of Ananda as a vehicle to bring light in the world at a time when people are confused and despairing and frightened and anxious and looking for meaning. And let's keep in our hearts like the most precious gift of all that we've been given, and that's Master's presence. Let's keep it vibrant. Let's keep it ever expanding, and let's share it in every way that we can possibly think to do it. Because once Swami was asked, what is the mission of Ananda? And he said, it's to equalize the world on the spiritual plane. We can't equalize the numbers with billions, but the concentrated soul force of one devotee is more powerful than the scattered mentality of people rushing after the tinsel of the world. So it's not about numbers, it's about quality and intensity, and we bring that to what we do. And I'm just so happy that we can all be doing this together. It's such a wonderful gift, and you are such dear friends, and more than just dear friends of me, you're dear friends of God, and He sees each one of you, and He's very grateful. So, Mai, do you want to?
We're going to start the giving ceremony piece of our celebration. There's a basket up here for you to put your offering in. We're going to have 2 rows, and you can come row by row, one on right and one on the left, and come up and take a moment and say a prayer. Allow your heart to express the true meaning of your gratitude and your wishes. So take a moment and pray before the Masters. Thank you.
Close now with a visualization for World Brotherhood. Feel the energy now in this temple of light. Feel all those who are joining us online. Feel that unity of purpose, a new dawn for humanity. Feel this vibration of oneness with God, drawing us to oneness with all others. Feel this vibration like a great wave spreading out, covering the face of the earth, where there is tension and warfare, where there is unrest and injustice. Feel flowing out from the heart of God the healing power of unity and world brotherhood, flowing into the hearts of and minds of people everywhere, awakening them to the truth of our own being, to the reality behind all the facades of this world, the reality of God's love that has created this world, that sustains this world, and ultimately that dissolves this world back into itself. Let the beacon of world brotherhood shine brightly in our hearts, and may it kindle that light in the hearts and minds of people everywhere, until the world is once more singing in harmony, in unison, the song of world brotherhood and divine love. Let's chant Om, and with a great wave send the vibration of world brotherhood and Master's vision of one world family out everywhere. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, beloved God, Great Masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda, Saints of all religions, beloved Swamiji, we humbly bow to you all. With grateful hearts, we offer our lives in thy service. Receive us into oneness with thee. Om. Peace. Amen. So, thank you all. And now we'll make our way over to the dining room. Where's my? Okay. We'll make our way over to the dining room and enjoy a beautiful repast. God bless you all.